the earlier you prepare and the bigger your account gets, the more wiggle room you have. And so the perfect example of that is not only him right now trying to get an E-Trade account and will likely not capture as much moves as he could of this run if he had a bigger E-Trade account or opened up an E-Trade account earlier, but very similar to how Jack was able to put a percentage of his account into 30, 40 weed names. Was a very similar thing that I couldn't do because I waited too long. Because the week that Jack was buying these weed stocks, I was like, dude, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, that's super smart. I would love to join you. But my E-Trade account at the time was not big enough to do that. It just wasn't.
All right, everybody, welcome back to This Week in Steady Trade. Sykes is not with us today. We're actually all finally back at our own place. Got Jack and Kyle. I mean, the market, we're beyond the moon at this point. We are like approaching Mars, possibly going to be Jupiter soon, maybe in Uranus. Like
we're on Uranus, man. There's no way we're not.
Look at this kid. This kid is so tired. You can't even.
Guys, oh my gosh. So for those who have been trading long enough to know, like when you see busy days, and you don't have to see busy days, trading takes a lot out of you emotionally. And like the energy it takes to do this is a lot. But I've been sitting at my computer all day, every day for the last like week, 2 weeks. And if you couldn't hear right now, it's getting to me, guys. This market is the most insane thing I have ever witnessed. Some people are comparing it to the dot-com boom, and I don't disagree with them, even though I was like 4 years old then. If you know the stat, like 2 or 3 stocks now are only under $1 on the NASDAQ when hundreds should be under $1 on NASDAQ. We're in a bubble. BUBBLE. It's big, but the cool part is if you go long, like Mr. Cornflakes, Jack Kellogg, you can make a lot of money. Like in January, most of my profits were from long. So far in February, most of my profits were from long. So yeah, shorts are still working, making some good money on shorts, which I will go over for my trade this week. But yeah, anything you guys got to add to that?
I mean, that was pretty spot on right there. I like that.
Yeah, I could feel that with your tone, just your tone.
Dude, I need a nap, man. Like, I need a big nap. I need to trade NAP nap.
Like if you're doing like poetry for school, you know how like people like read poetry and stuff. Like Kyle just got an A+ right there for his tone and how he
gorgeous
presented those words.
Cool.
All right, Kyle, we won't keep too long. So pull up the charts.
Let's
bust some of these out here.
All right. Here we go. Ooh. After you, Sir Kellogg.
So I'm sure a lot of you guys that are watching are part of the Tim Challenge. Or if you're not, a lot of people have been asking me, number one question is like, how are you buying all these stocks so low and selling these for 100%, 200%, 1,000% gains? And basically it was just seeing this stuff repeat. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And these are very similar moves to 2017, 2018. And I always had a really good understanding of the weed sector the most. Bitcoin always usually chopped me out and other sectors were tough. The coronavirus sector was pretty good, really clean charts, but the weed always made the most sense to me. So with the Bitcoin stocks, I did call those rather nicely. MGTI, BTCS, BTSC all went absolutely insane. And I was in all of those with a really low average. And I just sold them too early. So I got really disappointed and discouraged in that. And I used that pain that I had from selling those way too early. And like I literally left, like with the size that I had on those 3, I left 7 figures on the table if I just rode the momentum a bit longer. So coming into the weed sector, as soon as Biden got you know, it was like pretty much confirmed that Biden was going to be president. I know that he is very pro drugs. He wants to legalize mushrooms and weed and all this stuff. So as soon as I was convinced that Trump wasn't going to get the Supreme Court and all that stuff, I was like, all right, now it's time to load weeds. So one weekend, I think it was the first week of January when Biden was getting inaugurated and everything was going through. I went through and I scanned the entire weed sector on a weekend, and I went through all the charts. I went through all the market caps. I went through all the familiar tickers, and I basically just judged the potential upside on these names based on the performance from 2017. So I pretty much just went out and I diversified my risk throughout the entire sector. I didn't even risk that much. I calculated how much I wanted to risk per stock, per setup. And I think it ended up being like 40 or 50 grand overall throughout like 40, 50 stocks. So I didn't have that much risk to begin with because I knew I only need to put a small amount in and just let it work, because if I oversized, I wasn't going to be able to wait for the move that I wanted to wait for. And Nugs was one that I did just kind of, I broke my plans a little bit, and I just took a decent amount of size on Nugs because this was one of the last ones to go. And if you do look at this chart, Nugs ran in 2017 to $7 or $8. And yeah, $7 or $8. And we've been downtrending in a bearish market for years, not months, not days, not weeks, for years. So I knew that the upside potential on these were massive. And Nugs was trading at 5, 7, 8 cents. And this is already after a lot of these other ones started their moves that I was watching. So Nugs was kind of the last one. And at this point, I had already realized a lot of money just through some of my other trades. So Nugs, this was the one I decided to size up on. It's on the verge here, my biggest new trade. So I had like 150,000 shares from my first buy was at 5.5 cents on some date, but I forgot what date, early January. And then as I watched this thing develop and create this tight range, Kyle, if you want to zoom in a little bit on the last month or so, to the right. Yeah, after that big volume candle there, the biggest volume candle on the chart right there, all those dips, I started just sizing into, and I eventually got like full size with a little over 400,000 shares on this 7, 8 cent stock. And basically my goal was just to see like, if this thing hit dollars like it did last year, with a 7 cent average. Yeah, it's asking for a lot, but I had my risk intact, which was around 5 cents. And, you know, I'm risking 2 cents to potentially make 90 cents. And I'm a trader, so I'm looking always for risk to reward. So it offered great risk to reward, and I just took it. And over the next 4 days, we pretty much have gone supernova. And I sold my first part. I sold about a third today, near 50 cents before we went red. And I'm not sure what's going to happen with this one, but I'm holding until I see some kind of trend break or another speed up. So I lock some in. I've pretty much, like, all my shares now are pretty much free because I've already realized what I've put into the stock. Like, I've realized how much money I put in. So now the rest of the shares are kind of just like free shares. So if it went to zero, I would still be green on the ticker because I've locked some in. So I basically just have been swinging all these, and I've just been locking in into the euphoric moves. MJNA, I had it at 2 cents. I sold it at 8. Now it's at 17. MNNFF, I had it at 18 cents. I sold it at 50, and now it is at $1.40. And MMNFF, I also had a lot of size on that one because I really like the chart, and it was a really big runner last year as well. So as you can see, like, all these are just going straight up. And as it becomes like, okay, I'm kind of thinking about this being a short, that's when I want to be selling, like into the parabolic moves. And if it's not going parabolic, like I'll just sit and wait, because one's going to go parabolic a day. Like I've been having to sell like 1 or 2, 3 stocks a day, and I'm just going to slowly scale out as they keep on going parabolic. MNFF, I sold a little bit too early because I saw some people hating on it on Twitter, and I let that get to my head where I should have just stick to my plan. I wanted to see $1 plus. So a lot of these, I'm just looking for also, like, I'm looking to sell like 2, 3, 4, 5 green days when it starts to get overdone, and using my knowledge of knowing when to short. I'm just trying to hold on to these as long as possible. And I am still day trading other stocks with more volume. And these, like I said, it's just smaller size, because my plan is patience. My plan is not to take a bunch of size and try to hold like that. Also would be too much. But my risk to reward on these is very good, and they're kind of doing what I want. And I'm happy with my patience so far. I've never really been a swing trader, and I kind of just picked it up through learning. And there's one book of this guy, I'm sure you guys, what is it, Market Wizards 2, where he would buy a lot of these stocks at the lows for the sectors and sell them into the massive euphoria runs. So that gave me some conviction, because he was a really big trader. Kyle, can you confirm that was the book?
Are you talking about the newest Market Wizards or one of the older ones?
Yeah, Unknown Market Wizards, the new one.
Yeah, Unknown Market Wizards just came out. There's a guy, I forget his name.
Justin Newman.
He turned like 5,000 into 50 million. Yeah, and he does exactly what Jack just did here. Maybe not similar, maybe not OTCs, but he did like 3D printing. I think he did weed. I'm sure he's in crypto right now. If I had to guess, like just before a euphoric massive run, you get in when no one's looking.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to do, because I know the weed sector, and I know there's just so many stocks in the sector that I'm gonna miss some, no matter what, because I just can't trade that many. So if I just put in the extra work and scanned and found the ones that are basing near the lows and found a key support level to risk, and just put in small amounts so I'm not stressing about it all day, and just let it work, and then just sell into the euphoric movements. And that was basically my plan. And I learned it through my mistakes on the Bitcoin sectors. That's when I first tried it. So, because I would have, even the money that I did make on the Bitcoin stocks, like I wish I just had a smaller size and waited longer, because that's how I want to slowly develop. Like next sector, I can take a little bit more size because I'll be more confident. But I just started small with a lot of these. I didn't put in too much money. Like I said, Nugs was my biggest position by far. And I mean, other than that, it's just really happy with my execution so far on these. And we'll see what happens. Tilray is gapping up a little bit after hours. So the more euphoric these get, like Buds tomorrow, it's already on its second green day. So if we gap up and have a morning parabolic, that's that kind of euphoria I'm looking for it to sell. Once we get too overdone, that's when I'm looking to sell. Sizing out into pieces, so I can hold some small pieces after I sell some. And basically, I'm really happy with how it's been going so far. Yeah, that's basically all I got. A lot of people have been asking me, so I mean, it was pretty simple, honestly, in my opinion. I had the extra buying power for it. If you are a smaller trader, like I wouldn't recommend doing this, because like you want to focus on smaller, safer trades, quicker trades. You want to grow your account, and I have grown my account now. So I have money to put into some of these. So that's why I did it. As you become a bigger and bigger trader, you keep expanding your strategies, keep trying to get better every single day. And that's basically just what happened. And it mimicked my entire journey. Like every single time I've made more, I'm always learning new patterns. I'm always learning new stuff. So really happy with these, because before this, like I probably didn't have too many like 100% winners in my career. And now my portfolio has, 735%, 561, 370, 335, like these huge winners. So it's just cool to see this kind of trading, and it's like pretty fun, because I like how you can just put in a little bit and be really rewarded once you have patience. So I've been rambling on for a lot, but that's all I got.
That's awesome.
I want to just add a quick thing to that note without making it too long, because I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday who mainly short sells, and he was seeing how, me, Jack, Matt are all killing on the long side, and he's like, he told me I think I should open a B trade account. He knows how to long, but he just doesn't do it often, and he usually does it in like IB where the commissions are expensive, and so he thought about opening an E-Trade account, but he couldn't fund it over PAT, and so I gave him this whole like spiel about the earlier you prepare and the bigger your account gets, the more wiggle room you have. And so the perfect example of that is not only him right now trying to get an E-Trade account and will likely not capture as much moves as he could of this run if he had a bigger E-Trade account or opened up an E-Trade account earlier, but very similar to how Jack was able to put a percentage of his account into 30, 40 weed names, was a very similar thing that I couldn't do because I waited too long. Because the week that Jack was buying these weed stocks, I was like, dude, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, that's super smart. I would love to join you. But my E-Trade account at the time was not big enough to do that. It just wasn't. Now, granted, after this huge run, I've really stepped up my long game in 2021, which was a goal of mine. Right now, my E-Trade account is absolutely big enough to do that. But it's too late now. Right? Maybe if we get another weed run later, like maybe I can participate then. But the massive gains that Jack is talking about, where you can take a very small amount and turn it into, multiple hundreds of % winners, is missed because I took too long to grow my E-Trade account. Right? It's big enough now. It's almost like 20x since I've opened it in August. But like back when Jack, when you loaded most of these, start of 2021.
Yeah, it was the first and second week I was doing all my DD and finding the ones and putting in bid.
During that beginning of the week, my E-Trade account was only maybe 100K, which it's not a small account. That's a big account. But if I wanted to participate similar to how Jack was participating, like I would have to put in almost half or more of my E-Trade account. I couldn't afford to do that. So that's just kind of this. Hopefully you get that point of like the earlier you start and the more prepared you get, the next opportunity that comes around, you're going to have that big enough account to broaden and expand your strategies. You're going to have more capital to throw in different ideas, experiment a little bit. As your account is smaller, some of the opportunities you're not going to be able to take advantage of until you're able to get a bigger account. So hopefully, I've probably repeated myself 2 or 3 times now. Hopefully get that point. Let's move on. Matt, do you want to talk about your trade for this week or today?
Yeah, but I gotta, while we're all
add on to my point, let's keep it rolling. I like this.
While we're all stroking Jack off here, I just see this like it's inspirational to me. Like I'm good friends with Jack, and I've seen pretty much his whole journey. But like the way I look at it from my perspective is like this is the next level, right? Like not that we're masters of our current level, because you can always get better. It's not what I'm saying. It's just like the level I'm at now. In order to level up, I think at least one direction I could go, and obviously it's working very well for Jack, is just how he was early on these trends, on these swing trades, and like he's reaping the rewards right now. It's incredible to watch. And these things don't come around like once a month even. Like, I mean, the weed sector was like 4 years in the making. The Bitcoin sector was like 3 years in the making. Like it's been a while. But if like you're just prepared enough and you put in the work like Jack did, like the return on investment is just unparalleled. So like, I just, like you were saying, like your journey, and like, I completely agree. Like, not that there's the right way to do it, but like I would master or try to learn as much as you can about day trading first, just because the opportunities, especially in this market, are a lot more plentiful. There's a lot, you can learn a lot more. And then like, once you kind of get a grasp under that and your account grows a little bit, then you can start venturing off like into swing trading and crushing it like Mr. Cornflakes. So
Jack eats his Wheaties every morning.
Yeah, he does.
Every morning.
They're great.
I love it. All right, let's go to Pira. So this was a day trade for me. I tried to swing a lot of the weeds. I saw what Jack was doing. I was just like, I wasn't patient. And he talked about how like during Bitcoin, he felt the pain of missing the moves. And that's kind of what I'm experiencing with weeds. Because a lot of these weeds I did buy, like Pira, I remember buying under 2 cents and I just didn't hold it. But I didn't like just let the opportunity go to waste. I was still willing to day trade them. Pira is one of the more recent weed runners. It had a breakout today. If you pull up the intraday chart, Kyle, you can see on the daily here, like roughly 5 cents was the key level. So that was the level I was watching. And just as it started, like this morning, what's today, the 10th? Yeah. Like if you were trading today, this morning was a little rough. It was a bit of a bloodbath out there. A lot of stocks pulled back. A lot of them were just super overextended. So like it was only a matter of time before we had a day like this. But then into the afternoon, the stronger ones of the batch started to reclaim. Pira was one of these. And just into the afternoon, I started taking some at like 4.8, and then it just like started skipping. So I slapped a bunch at 5 cents because I knew that was the key level. And we just went parabolic into close. It was awesome. I took off most of my shares into, I was like 5.8, 5.9, 6, and I think 6.2 were my sells. I still have a very small number overnight just because the breakout was so nice. Probably locked in too many in hindsight, but it was literally straight up 20%. So I just had to lock some in. But like, this is like my approach now, since I missed the entries and I can just learn from like all these swing trades I missed, start looking for the ones that are holding up, hold near highs, possibly pull back and may form a breakout in a week or two, because there's still plenty of opportunity. This sector is just getting started, in my opinion. Like weed isn't legal. There's been no news about it. And if and when that happens, like this is a warm up. So just keep an eye on all the runners. What I usually do is like, it's super simple. Just make a watch list, call it like basically every platform you can make multiple watch lists, call it weed stocks, just start throwing everything in there that's running. And then next time weed runs, like you already have a list, you can just start hopping in on the strong ones. So that's what I got today for you. Kyle, the short seller.
The short.
Energy.
So guys, the great part is that everything's going up because everyone's buying. That's awesome. Okay. But everyone who's buying is probably a noob, right? They're new to trading. They've gotten their second stimulus check and they're thrown into the market. So when crap hits the fan, they don't know what to do. And if they don't have diamond hands, they sell. All right. So ENZC, this is one of them. This is one of these ones that's just beautiful. And I had a feeling it'd be like this because if you look at the daily chart, you look at previous red days, you know, they're pretty harsh red days, right? Like this red day went from 25 down to 12. I mean, it panicked 50%. And I think if you find the intraday chart, actually I can pull to the intraday chart here now. You know, it pulled like 50% in like the first 15 minutes of the day. I mean, literally look at this thing. Look at that. That's beautiful. This is the easiest money you could ever ask for if you're shorting. You just short here, cover here. It's that easy. Trading's easy. Just kidding. It's very difficult. But this, what I'm saying, is very. If I were to take a trade, this would be an incredibly easy trade, simple trade to take. Okay. So ENZCS, I was thinking the same thing. It should have a hard pull again. All we need to do is wait for it to go red on the day. This day was very weak. Why? Because it's just super choppy. It's sideways. It's not really going anywhere, right? All the previous days pretty much uptrended, besides maybe this little blip right here. But on the top day here, like it just makes sense that this went sideways, couldn't really go anywhere. You know, you see this hard crack, which is a good sign of a potential backside, which is why I also thought the backside would be on this day too, because of this crack, but that didn't happen. But finally this morning we did go red. So I short some, immediately covered on the level 2 turn. You see this volume exhaustion are signaling a bottom. So I covered there, immediately then reshorted right into red green, covered it all into this dip. And once we start kind of, you know, curling out like that, I realized, you know, it was still pretty heavy. I thought we had more to go, more downside to go. So I did reshort, and then out of nowhere, you know, another huge hard panic, you know, so very similar again to back out here, like so sharp and clean. You know, we did two of those today. So it's super, super nice. But in terms of the dip buy, E-Trade was being very laggy this morning. Unfortunately, they're overwhelmed with new traders, you know, amount of orders coming in and out. For whatever reason, E-Trade Pro has been laggy recently. And so for whatever reason, I don't know why, none of my orders would go through to try to dip buy it here. So I missed this bounce, which is really disappointing. But when we did it again, you know, after I reshorted here, I actually also did the same thing here where I saw this volume increase. So I did cover, and I actually did get to go long. I went along 100,000 shares at like 55 or so, like 55.5, 56. And again, E-Trade was also laggy in the fact that when I put in a sell order, it didn't go through. So I thought, okay, let me press it again for another sell order. 30 seconds later, both sell orders come live, and I sell my entire position like at like 60. When I only wanted to sell half. So I did miss, this whole other 6 cents of upside. It was really frustrating, but again, I think I did lock in like 5 to 6 grand on the dip buy alone, even selling early at 6 cents or at 60 cents. So I can't complain there. It's better than losing. So that's pretty much it. I left it alone the rest of the day. As of what happens tomorrow, I don't know. All these OTCs have been hot. I would love for the run to over $1. Who knows what will happen, but yeah, just gonna react from here and this market's nuts. We could talk about 30 other tickers, but we'd be here all night. So these are just the main ones. There's like 40 others. It's just a lot. It's just too much.
Love it, Kyle. All right, stop sharing your screen. We'll let you get to your nap.
And my big nap.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you like, subscribe. Also, all our Twitter bios are in the description below. So make sure you go check those out. Just follow us. We post usually really good information on there, whether it's our trades or just trade ideas. So go make sure you follow us, like, subscribe. We do this every week. So we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Hold on. Hold your horses.
Oh, hold your horses.
Oh, Jack has some final words.
Jack has some final words.
For cutting the man off.
I want everybody to go in the comments and wish this man, Kyle Williams, a very happy birthday.
Yes, I second that.
Thank you.
Good call. So like, subscribe, happy birthday. There you go. Homework's done.
There you go.
All right, man.
All right. Later, guys.
It was a
Gotta
pleasure.
go.
See ya.
Cheers.